What's up guys, Pedro here, and on this video I'm going to show you how I stained and sealed this concrete countertop. Coming up right after this. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is clean the concrete. The way I did this on this countertop, I vacuumed it first, then I took a TSP solution. Actually, it's a TSP substitute solution. You can use either TSP or the substitute. Just follow the directions on the package. You can purchase this at any box store. I bought this at Lowe's. You can get it at Amazon as well. It's like 20 cents more on Amazon, I believe, than Lowe's. But I'll put a link to it in the description below. Okay, so if you have like the backsplash area or anything you don't want this stain to get on, you better cover it up with plastic like I did. I'm really not that concerned about the back because I think I'm gonna go ahead and put a sub tile or something back there, but I am concerned about the lower cabinets, so I wanted to cover them up. If you have anything you don't want that stain to get on, you better cover it up. I just used some regular drop cloth plastic and some tape and taped it up. Okay, so this is the first time that I've used acid stain before. I used a 0.7 mil plastic to cover everything up, and it was way too thin. When I went to take it off, it actually stuck to the wall. Not just the plastic, but the painter's tape as well. I would recommend using a 1.5 mil plastic, which is considered a heavy duty drop cloth. That 0.7 was just way too thin. Okay, now that we've got the countertop clean, let's get to staining it. Okay, so the stain we're using today is by Concrete Coatings, and their color is Vivid Mission Brown. I'll put a link to it in the description below. Because this is such a small project, I'm going to use a little spray bottle. If you had a larger project, you could use one of these numbers right here. Just make sure it's very important that if you use, whether it's a spray bottle or the spray can like that, there's no metal parts in it. The metal wand, none of the parts can be metal because you're using an acid stain. Okay, if you want a color that's lighter than the original stain, of course you can add water to it. The more water you add, of course the lighter the color is going to be. I want this color to be dark so that it contrasts the cabinet color and the wall color as well. Okay, before we get started, I gotta go change my clothes or my wife is gonna kill me.
Honey, you need to come change your clothes.
I told you. Yeah, before I take these off, I'm gonna rinse. And this is what the countertop looks like after just one coat of stain. Okay, so we're gonna use a ammonia and water solution. Okay, you wanna use a 1:10 ratio of ammonia to water to neutralize the acid. In other words, you wanna use 1 ounce of ammonia to every 10 ounces of water. Okay, so the ammonia and water will neutralize the acid. You spray it on here and then wipe it off to get the residue off of it. To get your true color. Oh yeah, that looks nice. Just to get the excess stain off of there, you'll see you get the true color coming through. That's like a deep chocolate brown right there. Okay, on our first coat of stain, we waited 4 hours before we neutralized the stain. On this second coat, we're only going to wait an hour before we neutralize it. Hey Siri, set a timer for 1 hour.
Your timer is set for 1 hour.
Anybody there?
And this is what it looks like after neutralizing the second coat of stain. Okay, it's time to seal this countertop. I've decided to go with glaze coat by Famwood. The reason I went with this is because it's a thicker coating than the rest of them. This is like putting 70 coats of varnish on. And the reason I did this is because of the pits and the imperfections in the concrete. It'll help to fill those in. I've used this product before. I really like it. I used it on some cornhole boards that I did for my stepson. I actually used, it's not cheap. I used about $300 worth of this stuff. It's a two-part product, A and B. It's a hardener and a resin, and you need to use equal parts whenever you're doing this. We're doing about 16 square feet, and 2 quarts of this will cover about 18 square feet. So we should have plenty. Okay, so my buddy Brian from next door came over to help me with the sealer. He's going to mix both bottles of part A into one container and both bottles of part B into one container. Then we'll mix parts A and B together in one large container for 6 minutes. Brian's just trying to pour an even amount of the glaze on the countertop, and then we'll spread it out as evenly as we can. Notice that I put tape around the edge of the countertop, and I did this to hold the glaze inside for about 10 minutes, and then I will pull the tape off and then work it on the edges just to make it more firm so it's not as runny and it won't be dripping down the sides. On a project like this, it's nice to have an extra pair of hands because I don't know if I could have completed working it. This stuff sets up in about 15 minutes after you've mixed it, so it's important to get it spread out. And pretty much self-levels, but then you put some heat to it we used a hair dryer, and it gets all the little air bubbles out of it. I have seen people use torches to get the air bubbles out, but I've found that a hair dryer works great, and you don't take the risk of burning anything. I was glad to have Brian's help. He's very, very meticulous. Okay, now it's time to pull the tape off and apply the glaze to the edges. Okay, so I'm real happy with the way the countertop came out. I'm real pleased with the final results. I have a lot more cabinets to build, both uppers and lowers, and of course more concrete countertops to build as well. There's a couple of reasons I didn't do a video on the actual making of the concrete countertop. Number one is I was trying to get it done as quickly as I could, so I didn't want to set up the cameras and stuff, the lights and everything, so I didn't. The second thing was this is the first time I used just a mortar mix doing the concrete countertops, and very pleased with the results. In the past I've used a concrete mix that was specifically made for countertops, and it's very expensive. If you get these at Lowe's or Ace or Home Depot or whatever, it's very expensive. It's like $18 for a 40-pound bag, and you can get it at like Quikrete for $5 a bag if you have an account with them. Okay, the reason I decided to do the video on this staining and sealing of this countertop is my buddy next door, Brian, the one that helped me in this video. He
was kind of upset because I didn't do a video on the actual making of the concrete countertop. So he encouraged me to do so with this and the rest of the project here. So I will. I'm going to make videos of practically everything that I'm going to do here for my studio. It's going to be a studio slash garage slash shop because first of all, my wife wants me out of the kitchen, and so I'm building a kitchen in here. Shop because I love to build stuff, and I've got my dad gave a lot of tools to me, so I love to build stuff. Everybody that knows me knows I love to build stuff, whether it's cornhole boards or cabinets or whatever, shelves, so on and so forth. I love to build, and my wife wants to be able to park her car in the garage too, so that's going to be a challenge. Some of my tools like my table saw and my bandsaw and my lathe may have to go on casters so that I can move them around. So half of the garage is going to be mine and the other half is going to be my wife. So Stacy will be able to park her car in the garage, aka Weezer. Okay, so I'm going to be putting up a lot of different types of videos. I hope you guys will bear with me in the process. It's going to be a lot of building stuff, and in between I'm going to be doing some recipes as well. Y'all please bear with me. Not only that, I've been working a lot of overtime the last month or 3 weeks, last 3 weeks, one more week of it. And on top of that, my youngest, Casey, is getting married in a couple of weeks, in less than 2 weeks. Got a lot going on, got a lot on my plate. So y'all bear with me, and I'll post as many videos as I can when I can. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button and share it if you're so inclined. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. Until next time, God bless. Y'all take care.